Deep Voodoo for a conversation with Bloomberg's Lucas Shaw.
All right. Let's hear it for Lucas. Come on, everybody. All right.
No, they're here for you. Everyone's tired of me. Thank you for making this work.
Yeah,
You're in here filming something. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, all right.
But I'm curious because over the last year or two when we've spoken, you have really encouraged me to go to a Mexican restaurant. And I think
I'm here shilling.
we should start with a question that is maybe on everyone's mind. You're a pretty savvy business person. Why did you buy a bankrupt Mexican restaurant in Lakewood, Colorado?
Because we're not that savvy. I'm not a savvy business person, quite frankly. If you don't know what Casa Bonita is, this giant restaurant in Colorado where Trey and I grew up. It's like 52,000 square feet. If you've been, it's the best place in the world. If you haven't, you're like, what the fuck is everyone talking about? But it went bankrupt, and Trey and I bought it, and we've kind of figured that when you hear that sentence in your head, like, how hard can it be? You should really beware of that voice in your head. We said, how hard could it be? You know, the food sucked. How hard could it be to revive this place? And it was pretty hard. It took the last couple of years. We sank a lot of our money into it, but it's open.
The documentary would say, so you thought you were going to spend $6 million. Am I?
I thought I was spending $3 million, and then it turned into about 40, and it's actually probably more than 40. But so when oh, here we go. But some part of what, like, when we've got a really good friend of ours, and we have a documentary division of Park County, our company, our friend Arthur Bradford, who's always shooting video of us. And there was this moment when everything was going really bad, and I just thought, well, and it was really stressful and shitty, and everyone's yelling at each other, and everyone's stressed out. And I just thought about, like, Kitchen Nightmares, or, you know, those, if there was funny music playing behind this meeting, it would be funny. And so we, you know, encouraged Arthur to keep shooting, and we ended up with this movie called Casa Bonita Mi Amor, which originally was, and we haven't got enough material for, you know, a 3 or 4 part, kind of one of those 3 or 4 hour long things. And when we watched it, we just decided to cut it down to its core, and its core really was about my partner, Trey. You know, as an artist and as a kind of slightly insane, great guy who dedicates himself to something and sort of won't stop.
Right.
And $40 million later, we have a Mexican restaurant. But I will say, we have, when I say Mexican restaurant, we did 14,000 people went last week. That's what we're doing.
Is it making money now? And setting aside the $40 million you incinerate.
You're asking the wrong, yeah. I'm not a savvy businessman, I don't know. Okay. I think it's getting close to making money. We have 265,000 people who are our founders, who are people who are our biggest fans we have a direct relationship with, who are on the million-plus person email list before. They said we're doing 14,000 people a week right now. We hope to get to 20,000 people a week. And it's funny to us, but people are calling us about opening Casa Bonitas in other places. It's just like, okay, you know, like, and that's just funny knowing if you just came from Denver that we would be in that position doing it.
Yeah.
But it's open. We're really proud of it. I'm being self-deprecating. We're really proud of it, and the movie shows how hard the renovation was. And again, Trey, my partner's dedication to the cause.
So you always have someone filming you?
Kind of. Isn't that annoying?
Why?
Not always, but it's a really good friend of ours, Arthur Bradford, and he did a documentary, if anybody saw it, called 6 Days to Air about us a long time ago, and we just kind of have kept filming, you know.
It's you and Beyonce, you just.
I know it's like such a rapper thing to do. Like here's our doc crew, but in this particular case, it ended up making something really compelling.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned Trey as sort of this kind of mad genius as he's depicted in the documentary. How does the working relationship between the two of you work? Where it feels like, if you've watched 6 Days to Air, it's pretty evident that sort of he is the creative lead.
Yep.
And so what is your role alongside him, and how does that relationship work?
I don't know. It changes all the time. I mean, at this point, we're family, you know? I mean, to pick it apart is we've just been through it all together.
Yeah.
You know? But Trey's he really is a true artist, capital A artist, and he's so talented, it kind of fucks people up, you know?
Yeah.
He can write and direct and act and write songs. And, you know, and I'm kind of a smart guy, that I can help along those things or help refine his vision along the way. Or a lot of times, you know, I bring ideas to the show. When you do a show like South Park, you have to have like, what the hell are we going to do this week? So sometimes it's a producer-director relationship. Sometimes it's co-writing. At the end of the day, I think we like our core competency, as you would say at Bloomberg Screen Time, would be
I will say
fart jokes and funny voices. And we like making each other laugh. You know what I mean? So, but like you'll see in the movie, if you see the movie Casa Bonita Mi Amor, I mean the title comes from a point. There's a part where the camera they catch him just in this, and it's just a very, if you know Trey, it's like you see this moment in the film, like that is Trey.
Right.
And he just starts singing this little Elvis thing, Casa Bonita Mi Amor, and it's like. That's Trey. Like when he gets his mind on doing something artistic, you're not going to get in his way. He'll work harder than anybody. He's more dedicated than anybody, and like I'll go anywhere with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, even though I grew up in Denver too, and I understand all the nostalgia, and I have a real just like his connection with Casa Bonita is pretty astounding.
Now, you said in a 2010 interview with the New York Times.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, this is not a bad one. I thought it was funny because you said in that interview that you would not be making, both of you laughed. You're like, there is no way we're going to be making South Park when we're 50. Because this was celebrating a certain anniversary. Yeah. I believe you're now 53?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Sorry. Is there an end in sight for the show, or have you guys just reached a point where you're like, we're just going to keep doing it, and at a certain point maybe we'll get tired of it, but for now we're?
I think we're gonna. No, we don't have an end in sight, and actually, and I'll say, honestly, it's because it's still such an awesome sandbox.
Yeah.
You know, we're working on a movie right now, a live action movie. When we get back to South Park, it's gonna be like, oh right, here we go. Like I can't wait to see, hang out with those characters again, to be cheesy about it. Like we love doing South Park, and then I think we will last long enough to reach the singularity and pass it off to our AI. I mean, which sounds crazy, but people are. Yeah. But we have no plans now. We don't.
I really regret that. Oh, they took the chart off. Good.
Yeah.
That was the one that was going to show that people watch Family Guy more than South Park. But
oh man, you Lucas, bring me up on stage.
I'm curious in terms of like, do you ever feel? Because I think.
Put it back up. Yeah.
Oh God.
And American Dad. Oh my Lord.
Let's talk about the two at the bottom, which are the two shows I really grew up with in a lot of ways. Do you ever, because I believe you have a relatively friendly relationship with the Simpsons people, right?
I mean, we don't know anybody really personally. I mean, but.
Do you ever feel like, because I think they had you beat by about 8-9 years, something like that. Like, do you ever,
Simpsons? Yeah.
You're these two shows that have been on forever. Do you ever think like, okay, we got to go on longer than they do?
No, that won't happen. I mean, we're not. That will be in the AI singularity future, whatever the hell that is. No, The Simpsons was an incredibly formative show for us. You know, we were in college going to bars, watching it along with people, along with Beavis and Butthead and what Mike was doing. Those were like, oh, you can do this? You know, before that, there was no idea that you could do an adult animation.
Is there a new adult animated show that you really love? Like, have you seen anything new in the last 5 years?
I don't watch any television.
Really?
None.
Why not?
I got kids and I got work and I don't know. I don't do anything more I don't do anything.
Well, okay.
I like hang out with my friends.
You're gonna
play video games.
Let's say you go home this weekend, right? You have. What do you do to relax?
I don't know. I just don't watch TV.
No, that's fine. But so what do you do?
Okay, what is this? All right. Go on a hike. Hang out with my kids. They're coming in town this weekend. I haven't seen them in a few weeks. I see my friends.
Right.
Might have a drink.
That's allowed. Yes.
Might have a smoke.
Also allowed.
Might hang out with people. I don't know. I just am not a TV person. I really never have been personally. And now to get to like, if there's any, now I just find the whole thing bewildering when I turn on. There's no way well, frankly, we talked about this last time. I feel burned. The last couple of TV shows I've gotten into, and I do feel like this has been a real casualty or the problem with the streaming revolution is like, someone will say, you gotta watch this show. You gotta watch Mandalorian. It's so awesome. You gotta watch Battlestar Galactica. You gotta watch this one show. And I'll never watch TV, and I will, and I'll go on, I'll start watching it, and goddamn, it's great. And I'm like, I am missing something. And then you get into that second season, there's that episode that's bullshit, and I feel so betrayed. No, it's not. I don't have a rational. I'm like, oh well, you know what? The economics, they really tried. I don't do that. I'm like, fuck you. You're wasting my time.
Right.
And that's when I feel like.
So you're the
economics. No, the business of the business that the streaming revolution has created is screwing with people's heads and distorting the art of what should be being made.
Even though...
No, I'm irrational about it.
Well, I'm curious, though, because you're talking about season 2, right? And
season 2, as soon as I feel like you're wasting my time, I feel completely betrayed.
Because
I fell in love with something, and now I know you're screwing with me, and you're screwing with my heart, and I have like a short fuse, and that's that.
Well,
Shut the computer, and then I don't watch TV for 3 more years. That's, if anybody knows, that is seriously true, you know.
It's funny because I feel like one of the criticisms of streaming services is they cancel shows too quickly. Shows never, like, there's no streaming show that is in, I don't think, in like season 10 or 12 or anything like that. But so what part of the process do you feel like streaming has distorted?
Well, maybe I don't know if it's streaming or like and listen, I got a show that's been on 27 years, so, you know, what am I talking about? I don't know, you know, but like, it's just when I feel like someone's wasting my time, and I feel like that is part of the butter and bread equation that's gotten screwed up in the 2010s from streaming of like, well, let's make the bread this way. There's this much butter in the world, right, we're going to do this much bread, and it doesn't work.
Right.
There's just not that much good stuff out there.
Right.
And because the technology's made it so with editing and photography and everything looks glossy and it looks good, and then you go, okay, this feels good, and then they fool you, and then episode 7 you realize you're wasting my time, and then again, bang, and then I get really mad.
Do you think that, I'm curious, do you worry that AI makes that worse because it'll make it even easier to make stuff?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Because on the other hand, there's a lot of people who the technology's made it so that there's a lot of cool stuff happening. I don't want to be a complete grouch. I'm a pretty big grouch when someone wastes my time. But if, you know, there has been a lot of like great stuff like with YouTube and people online. What am I saying? I'm saying the tools, the tools to make films are so much different than when Trey and I started. That's cool. It's cool that people can make stuff.
Like, how much does well, this is maybe going in the other direction of what you're just saying. Like, how much does the average episode of South Park cost now versus when you started?
Oh, a gazillion times more. Yeah, because Trey and I make so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we were living on couches when we were literally crashing on our friend's couch when we first started making the show.
Right.
You know, now it's quite a bit more.
Yes.
You get Trey out of bed, it's not going to get out of bed for like, you know.
Well, the savviest deal you ever did was you got 50% of your digital rights.
Yeah. No, that was a good idea. And no, so that turned out to be a good idea.
The company where you've been home for, since the start of South Park's Paramount, obviously had a rather bumpy year.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking during the sale process? Are you like reading the stories that my colleagues and peers and I are writing? Are you talking to people? Like, what is?
No. No. Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, we. You know what happened between those digital rights and between when we went and did Book of Mormon with our friend Bobby Lopez, and just the way Broadway works is between that and then having enough money and having a little bit of savvy, we've moved into, we're owners now. We're not for hire. You know what I mean? We went over that. We got above that, looked above those clouds. You know what I mean? So we really, in a way, were fortified to be okay with whoever is going to buy Paramount. If someone's going to buy Paramount and slice it up, great. If someone's going to buy Paramount, we'll buy South Park back from them. Like, we're ready to do whatever. That said, I'm pretty excited about the David Ellison and.
Why is that?
You know, I mean, just we've met a couple of times. I mean, this is just comes from like, I think.
Did you meet before this or as a result of this?
We met once or twice before, and then we've met once or twice since the whole thing. And the grouch and me, like, he seems like someone who genuinely.
The kid of a tech billionaire does feel like someone you would make fun of on the show, I have to say.
not this one.
Yeah.
No, but he seems like a guy who genuinely is. He's not in. We've lived at a Paramount, and I actually like because the current people who work at Paramount that we work with, I really like.
Right.
But it's been a bumpy ride through the.
Yeah. Well, you had the Philippe Damon era.
Yeah. Phil Dowman.
Phil Dowman.
The Phil Dowman era, where it's quarter to quarter and just milk this thing for what it is every quarter. I don't think that's what David wants to do. He seems like a person who's dedicated, and the team is dedicated to a long-term vision, and that's what you have to do. These projects just take a long time, and the quality over quantity that I think he really believes in lines up with what Trey and I are into.
Right.
Don't do a lot. We hope that what we do is not a waste of anybody's time. And if it is, okay, we tried. Do you know what I mean? But we didn't deliberately go out to go, hey, like we make a little more bread here and spread that butter out.
Yeah.
It's really butter bread. That's all I wanted. That's my really clever analogy today. Sorry.
Okay, so you're not gonna make fun of David. Have you ever done Larry Ellison on the show?
No, won't be making fun of him either. Nope. He's safe for now.
Yeah.
No.
Other than owners of Paramount, you guys are pretty much willing to make fun of anyone or anything. Is there anyone or anything you're not interested in touching?
I don't know. We've been asked that so many times. We
Okay,
know,
sorry,
and then
we'll
if we come up with something, yeah. That's really not where we start from.
Yeah. You start from a what would be.
Just what if, like, I don't know. It's just it's the same. What do you write about? It's stuff that's interesting. It's like the way that we luckily, like, that's what I'm saying. We have a sandbox, and it's so fun to, whether it's the news or something that happens in our life, we get to go play in our sandbox. That's how it starts, you know.
Right.
Like doing a show about Ozempic. Like, we didn't really make fun of Ozempic. We didn't make fun. You know what I mean? We just found all these different angles to come at it and talk about it. You know? Right. That's a big thing. The big change to our world.
Right. Bread and butter, Ozempic. We have all the Hollywood bases.
That's pretty good, all right? No, yeah. Maybe on less. Yeah. Hollywood needs a little Ozempic to get.
Did you? I'm curious. At any point during the sale process, did you guys think about trying to buy South Park back? I feel like there were, because Viacom or Paramount, they looked into selling BET, looked into selling Showtime. I assume that
we thought about it.
Like, you could have just said, "We'll buy Comedy Central from you."
We thought about it. You know, I'm not saying, we thought about buying, like, I'm going to write a check. We thought about just doing a press release, like, some sort of like, hey, we're going to make an offer, just to be kind of dicks about the whole thing. Right. But
like you and a few of the other people who bid on the company but didn't really bid on the company.
Yeah, no, we would just bid on South Park, and we went through that scenario. But ultimately, like, that's not. I don't know. As I said, I'm excited about Paramount remaining intact. I have a little, I have a little romanticism about Hollywood still, because I'm from the before time. From when we came to Hollywood, it was still Hollywood, Now it's like tech's all come down here and everything's disorienting, and I don't know what a studio is anymore and what distribution is anymore. But the idea that there's a lot and the people go to work on the lot, and, it looks like a back lot, and there's a guy in the corner, smoking a cigar, and he's rich, and
that's what you want.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Compared to the tech, compared to Northern California and tech guys, yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've been lucky enough in my life to get to know kind of like tech people, and I live in New York now, I know Wall Street people, and Hollywood. And I'm just totally proud to be part of the Hollywood community.
God, I want to replay that to 25-year-old Matt and see what he has to
I know, that's what I'm saying. After living through all this stuff, like, like, I'm not like
and is that because
Hollywood is like the most stand-up place of all these industries, man. You know what I mean? It is. Fuck all those guys, man. You know what I mean?
Is that because you are an artist and so you feel sort of a kinship with other people in that community, or do you
Probably, yeah. It's just at this point now, it's like, what am I going to do? It's like not being a Lakers fan after living here for so long. Like, a bit of it's that. A bit of it's just like the way that, watching. I do feel like and I do feel like, not to be quite as strident, it's a two-way street. Like, with Northern California and Southern California, you have this mutual disrespect of what each other does. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, so because I do the one, I've felt these tech people come down over the last 2 decades and just be assholes.
Right.
That's what it is to me. Just be assholes and kind of like, oh, we can do what you do. And then, to segue to Deep Voodoo, we found ourselves stumbling into sort of a tech company, and I have a little more respect for what they do. You know what I mean? The same thing. Now I understand why restaurateurs are, like, after doing a Mexican restaurant, it's like, oh, that's not so easy.
Right.
So that's to go back to what I just said. Like, how hard can it be? It's hard.
So for those,
if you're gonna say how hard can it be, it's harder than you think. You're wrong. You're basically wrong.
For those unfamiliar, Deep Voodoo is your AI company.
Yeah, Deep Voodoo is this AI company. We sort of, I would just liken it to like our punk rock version of Weta or ILM, where we started to try to make a movie to make fun of Trump before the pandemic. And we basically decided we were going to do deepfake technology to make fun of him and to make fun of a bunch of people. I mean, basically, it was a giant like copyright nightmare or whatever. Like, we're just going to use everybody's face and just make fun of everybody. And we got the runaround from a bunch of special effects companies. Yeah, look at this. This is like some of the stuff we're doing now. And the movie hit the rocks with the pandemic, but the tech is amazing, and we kept going with it. And we've done a couple of music videos. We have a couple of big projects coming out next year, and it's something. It is definitely. I'm not saying our company, but like the technology's here to stay. As I said, a lot more respect for how hard it is to develop software, develop these kind of like models. But as you can see here, it's like a way where actors won't have to wear makeup, won't have to, you can just go to set like looking like whatever, and you'll end up looking like an alien when in the final product. So it's stuff that just meat and potatoes production saves time, cheaper.
It feels like there's this debate a little bit about, is AI something that will make production more efficient, or is it something that will be an enhancement? Or is it a bit of both?
I mean, I think Trey and I are interested in the efficiency because, again, if you can, let me see how to put it. It's like the deepfake technology kind of, I would say, divorces the input and output of the performance. So it's like I can be you and you could be me,
right?
Or I can be, or someone like a Mike Myers or a Eddie Murphy or Trey, who's incredibly talented and probably could just play every character better than everybody else. Make that very easy. Instead of spending 6 or 8 hours in the chair every day getting ready for makeup or getting made up like for the clumps or something like that. There's a lot of efficiencies for really talented.
A Nutty Professor reference, I believe.
Of course. I got good Norbit, man. I can go deep into Eddie Murphy, man.
Have you because obviously for the show you guys do voice a lot of the characters. Have you talked with anyone or with any company about trying to do voice cloning or licensing your voices for things?
We haven't. They've come to us, and I think we've run into the same. I don't know what everyone else. The first thought was, I can think of 80 million things I don't want that character to say, right? And so I don't know what those safeguards would be, but we haven't really looked into that. But
right. But you
because we can do it. I mean, But eventually, when the AI singularity takes, when I'm 60 and 65 and I'm on my yacht and I don't want to do it anymore, and I can hand it off to my AI assistant on my phone, I guess, I don't know.
You're tapping out at 60 to 65.
I got a yacht. I'm gonna go get on my yacht. I don't have a yacht, by the way.
Yeah.
Trey has a boat.
Other than the Ozempic episode, you haven't done much South Park in a while, right? Why is that?
Because we're working on a movie.
And what can you say about the movie?
It's a movie we're doing a movie with Kendrick Lamar and Dave and their company, and we're working on it and hopefully come out July 4th weekend, opposite Jurassic Park, which is pretty funny.
Probably a little different. What is the comedy? What's the genre?
I would say comedy.
Comedy.
Yes.
Very funny.
I would say
Sticking with your roots.
Probably funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Cow involved? Is Kendrick in it?
Very involved. And Dave Free's very, very involved. Yeah, we're there every day working on it. But that's what we're doing, and then we'll do South Park beginning of next year. We're coming back with one episode, and then a bunch more in the second half of 2025. But we are working on something.
Cool. You didn't want to do the person you're not going to touch, but I'm now curious if there was one executive, like media tech, wherever, that you would like to make fun of in some way, who would it be? That you haven't done before. Like who in media, when you see the headlines, see what they're doing, you're like, God.
Sam Altman just makes me laugh every time.
Why?
Does he do anything but podcasts? I mean. This is like the one thing I've done. It's like, I feel like, this is like taking up like half my day. I'm supposed to be doing stuff. Like I do anything but podcasts. Maybe he's smart. I don't know. But like all I do is like see the guy on podcasts.
You would go on Smartless?
Does that dude do anything but go on podcasts and talk about stuff?
Well, presumably he's running a company.
Presumably, but
they are worth 100.
When you actually listen to him talk, does anything he says make sense or strike you as smart? I'm asking you. You're the one who asked me. I'm asking you. I would say yes. I'd say he's a very, very smart guy. I hope to meet him someday. All those podcasts. He's got a lot of experience.
My honest answer to it is I don't listen to the podcasts he goes on.
I don't either. I just see all the podcasts. Yeah, I don't either. You asked me. I'm trying to.
Yeah, no, I couldn't decide if you're going to go. I was like, are you going to go to David Zaslav because he's kind of suing you right now? But Sam Altman's probably a better answer.
I could have done David Zaslav, yeah. No, he's suing me, so I can't talk about him, I guess.
You can talk about him.
I can?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I don't know. Do you remember the Jerky Boys?
No.
Okay, you're too young. Do you guys remember the Jerky Boys? There was just a character that went, sue you, sue everybody. And there was like some little character. That's what David Zaslav reminds you of. Okay. I mean, that's what Warner Brothers do. They're just suing the NBA. They're suing everybody. So being sued by Warner Brothers like a mark of pride at this point. You know what I mean? If you're not, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So is that enough?
No. On that note, I'm going to let you get back to work.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks for doing it.
Thanks. All right, have fun. You too. Talk to you later.